So, it's August 2011, and 23-year-old Dalene Carlson heads out to Finnegan's Pub in Stockton, California for what should be a fun night. She trusts a guy she's known for like a week to have her back. But instead, she ends up in a cornfield, betrayed in the worst way. How does a single night spiral into a nightmare? What could drive someone she knew to commit such a heinous act? Dalene Carlson was a vibrant 23-year-old who had recently moved from Sandpoint, Idaho, to Stockton, California in June 2011. She lived with her aunt, Margaret Baker, and cousin, Cicely Baker, while pursuing a child development degree at San Joaquin Delta College. Dalene was known for her social nature and ambition, working restaurant jobs to save money and chase her dream. She enjoyed Stockton's nightlife, often visiting Finnegan's Pub with her cousin Cicely. But Stockton in 2011? Rough place. Crime was sky high, and danger was everywhere. Her trusting nature made her vulnerable, a factor that would later play a significant role in her story. At the time, she was in an on-and-off relationship with Jacob Evangelisti, which had recently become tense. Think fights, even him grabbing her arm, positioning him as a person of interest in the unfolding events. Dalene's move to Stockton was meant to be a fresh start, filled with promise and new opportunities. She was all in, ready to shine. But a guy named Jason Gilley, he'd been texting her, pushing hard, and she wasn't biting. That night, Cicely got sick and stayed home. Dalene went out alone, and as we'll see, this new beginning would take a dark and unexpected turn. Okay, so August 7th, 2011, Sunday night. Dalene Carlson is getting ready to hit up Finnegan's Pub in Stockton. The plan? Drinks, dancing, and blowing off some steam with her cousin Cicely. But plot twist, Cicely suddenly gets sick and backs out. Dalene, still in the mood to go out, decides to hit the bar solo. She tells her Aunt Margaret not to worry, that she'll be back by 3 a.m. sharp. Responsible, right? In Stockton, though? Crime's through the roof. Not exactly the safest spot for a night out alone. Now fast forward to Finnegan's. The bar's buzzing, music's going, Dalene's chatting it up with friends, probably doing her usual rounds and checking in with familiar faces. She's texting James Cousins, too, a guy she's into. Come to Finnegan's, she says. He's not there, but someone else is. Enter Jacob Evangelisti. Yep, the ex, the one with the on-again, off-again drama. Surveillance cameras outside the bar catch Dalene around 1:15 a.m. She's outside smoking, then heads back in. Nothing out of the ordinary, yet. According to Jacob, they didn't really talk much that night. Things between them had been tense lately, lots of arguing, things fizzling out. And that night, Dalene's done with him. She's moving on, focusing on Cousins. Ouch, Jacob. But hold up. Someone new steps into the picture. Jason Ross Gilley. He's not just some random dude. Dalene had known him for about a week. Just a week. On the bar's CCTV, you can briefly see Gilley put his arm around her. Nothing crazy, but enough to raise eyebrows later. And that right there? That's where things start getting sketchy. So around 1:15 a.m., Finnegan's is wrapping up. Everyone's spilling out, the night's winding down, but not for Dalene. She leaves with Gilley. That's right, she doesn't head home to Aunt Margaret like she promised. Instead, she's spotted on another camera, this time at a Food for Less store, with Gilley. It's 1:30 a.m., they're buying alcohol. Kinda random timing, but okay. Now here's where it gets real weird. By 5 a.m., Jacob starts getting texts and calls from Dalene. She tells him she's at Gilley's house, drinking. And get this, Jacob hears a male voice in the background. Spoiler alert, it's Gilley. That's confirmed later. Jacob even texts Gilley, "Is Dalene with you?" Gilley's reply, "Nah, I'm at the hospital with my kid." Total lie. Dalene then texts Jacob again saying she wants to come over to his place. He waits. She never shows. And now, here comes the chilling part. At 11:25 a.m., Gilley's roommate, James Cousins, gets a text from Dalene's phone. It says she's on Country Club Boulevard, her phone's dying. Seems innocent, right? Same time, Gilley's caught on a gas station camera, brushing dirt off his clothes. Dirt. Like he's been somewhere he shouldn't. But detectives weren't buying it. They strongly believe that text wasn't from Dalene at all. They think it was Jilly pretending to be her, covering his tracks, creating a false trail. That's not just sneaky, it's cold. Calculated, like a guy who's got something big to hide. So in less than 12 hours, Dalene goes from a carefree night at the bar to totally vanishing. Her last known movements? In the company of someone she barely knew. Someone who now, suddenly, has all the answers no one else does. And the worst part, that 11:25 a.m. text might have been sent after she was already gone. Something had definitely gone wrong that night. And trust me, what comes next only gets darker. So, remember how Dalene told her Aunt Margaret she'd be home by 3 a.m.? She never came back. At first, Margaret's probably hoping Dalene's just running late, but by 3:30 a.m. she's calling, texting. No answer. Hours tick by with no call, no text. Something's off. Really off. By August 8th, Margaret had tried calling, texting, nothing. Radio silence. That's when she called the police and officially reported Dalene missing. Now, the cops don't waste time. They start their search where most stories begin. The bar. Finnegan's. They talk to staff, ask about that night, who Dalene was with, what she was doing. And 3 names keep popping up over and over. Jacob Evangelisti, her ex, James Cousins, Jilly's roommate, and of course, Jason Gilly himself. Jacob, he had some drama with Dalene, sure, but no direct contact that night, besides a few texts. Cousins? Turns out he was out of town completely. Solid alibi. But Jilly? Oh boy. Jilly's version of events had more holes than a broken fishnet. 5 stories, actually. Weed deals. Dropping her on Charterway. You name it, he tried it. Okay, so get this. Jilly tells the cops that he left Dalene at the bar around 1 a.m. He claims there was some sort of family emergency, so he bailed early. Sounds convenient, doesn't it? But then the police pull the surveillance footage from Food 4 Less. Boom. There's Jilly with Dalene at 1:30 a.m. buying alcohol. So much for that family emergency. Once he's cornered, he changes his story. Says, okay, fine, I took her back to my place. He admits they had sex, consensual according to him, then claims they got into an argument and he ended up dropping her off in Modesto. Hold up, Modesto? That's 40 miles away from Stockton, and she just magically vanished after that? Police weren't buying it. On August 15th, just a week after Dalene disappeared, Jilly gets arrested. The charges? Kidnapping and false imprisonment. Seems like they got their guy, right? But nope. 2 days later, August 17th, he walks free. Why? Not enough evidence to hold him. Nothing concrete, no body, no weapon, just sketchy vibes and a story that kept changing every time he opened his mouth. But now the cops are on high alert. Every little thing matters, and then they find something. Security footage from a gas station shows Jilly at 11 a.m. on August 7, the same day Dalene vanished. He's brushing dirt off his clothes. Alone. No Dalene. Where's he been? That one clip suggests he's just been somewhere. Rural. Remote. Maybe dirty. Maybe hiding something. So they zero in on the Calaveras River area near Jilly's house. Full-on search. Dogs, cops, everything. But they come up empty-handed. Meanwhile, Dalene's family's out there. Vigils, flyers, begging for answers. And then, 2 months go by. Dalene's still missing. No major leads. The trail's going cold until October 17th. A farmer's out in his cornfield in Escalon, about 20 miles from Stockton. And that's when he finds it. A body. Decomposed. Hidden out in the open, just beyond the rows. It's Dalene. She's nude. Her bra is nearby. Her jeans found 6 miles away. 6 miles. And the cause of death? 3 gunshots. 1 to the head, execution style. 2 to the torso. Small caliber, .22 handgun. It's officially a homicide. No more guessing, no more theories. Dalene Carlson was murdered. Now the question is no longer, where is she? It's who did this, and why? And if you think Jilly's done lying, buckle up. It only gets more twisted from here. So here's the question everyone was asking after Dalene's body was found. What kind of person could actually do this? Because we're not just talking about a bad decision or a heated argument gone wrong. This was cold, calculated, and straight up terrifying. Let's break it down. Jason Gilly's behavior wasn't just sketchy, it was textbook manipulative. First off, this man didn't just tell one lie, he spun 5 different versions of what happened that night. 5. Every time the police got closer to the truth, he'd tweak the story, add something, leave something out, change the timeline. like a human Etch-a-Sketch. That right there, that's a huge red flag. Psychologists would call that a manipulative coping mechanism. Basically, he lies, shifts blame, rewrites the script, all to dodge responsibility. And it gets worse. Jilly wasn't some clumsy fool who panicked. He was calculated. He lied with confidence. He acted like nothing happened. And in the end, he did what predators do best. He took control. But that control? It wouldn't last for long, because what happened next would turn everything upside down. Okay, so here's the question everyone keeps asking. Why would Jilly kill Dalene? What was going through his head? Well, prosecutors had a theory, and honestly, it makes a lot of sense. They think he killed her because he was scared. Not scared of her exactly, but scared of what she might say. See, there's a theory that something went very, very wrong between them, possibly an assault. And that theory isn't just a random guess. When Dalene's body was finally found, she was completely nude. Her clothes scattered across the cornfield, not in a neat pile, not nearby, just scattered. Her jeans 6 miles away. That's not something that happens by accident. It paints a picture of something violent and panicked. So now picture this from Jilly's side. Let's say he knows Dalene is going to tell someone. Maybe she already said something that made him think, oh no, I'm screwed. And in that moment, he decides the only way to stop her is to silence her forever. Now here's where it gets even darker. After she was gone, Jilly didn't just disappear. Nope, he picked up her phone and started texting from it. At 11:25 a.m., he texts his roommate, James Cosens, saying she's on Country Club Boulevard, phone's dying. Same time, he's at a gas station brushing dirt off his clothes. He was using her phone to throw people off, like a human puppet show, pulling strings to keep everyone calm while he covered his tracks. That's not random or impulsive behavior. That's calculated. That's cold. And Dalene? She was exactly the kind of person who wanted to believe the best in people. She was super social, super open, always talking to new people, whether it was at Finnegan's, rodeos, or wherever. That's why she was there that night, just hanging out, not suspecting a thing. That openness is probably why she didn't see Jilly as a threat. I mean, think about it. If someone seems chill, smiles a little, cracks a joke, your guard goes down. Especially if it's someone you've been around before, like Jilly. Someone you kinda know. That's what makes this whole thing feel even worse. He didn't just take her life, he betrayed her trust. And then he tried to erase her story with a few fake texts. But those lies, they didn't hold up. And in the next part, you'll see exactly how his cover-up completely fell apart, because once the trial started, things got real. Alright, so the cops were sure Jilly was guilty, but the challenge was proving it? Well, buckle up, because justice didn't just knock on his door, it kicked it wide open. On October 20th, 2011, police finally arrested Jason Jilly. Why? 2 things nailed him. First, ballistics. Turns out those shell casings found in the cornfield, they matched his .22 caliber handgun exactly. Like, no doubt about it, the same weapon that ended Dalene's life. Second, cell tower data. Yep, they tracked his phone. And guess what? He was right there, at the exact spot where Dalene's body was eventually found. Not around the corner, not a few blocks away. Right there. Now fast forward to 2013. The trial begins, and oh man, the prosecution did not come to play. They brought out over 1,000 pages of evidence. We're talking surveillance footage, text messages, GPS data, and some seriously emotional witness testimony. One of the standout moments? A guy named Jacob took the stand. He testified that he heard Jilly's voice coming from Dalene's call at Jilly's house that night. You could literally feel the courtroom shift when he said it. And Jilly? His defense was rough. He claimed everything was consensual. Said he and Dalene had sex, then he dropped her off in Modesto like it was no big deal. Kept pushing that story, even on the stand. Like, dude, give it up. Problem is, CCTV footage didn't exactly back that up. In fact, it buried him. He was seen wearing dirty clothes, looking sweaty and agitated. Definitely not someone who just had a chill night out and dropped his date off with a smile. Plus, his story kept changing. Again. And jurors? Yeah, they weren't buying it. On October 3rd, 2013, boom. Jilly was convicted of first-degree murder and kidnapping. The jury even added a firearm enhancement, which made his sentence even heavier. Now, here's the twist. The rape charge, That part ended in a mistrial. The jury just couldn't reach a unanimous verdict. But still, on November 4, 2013, the judge handed down the final sentence. Life in prison, no parole. Jason Gilley was done, locked away for good. Now, even though justice was served, this case hit hard, especially for Dalene's family. Her aunt, Margaret, her sister, Narja Gunan, they were there, sitting through every brutal detail, every piece of evidence, every lie. But when the verdict came down, you could almost hear the breath they'd been holding finally let go. Closure doesn't erase pain, but it gave them something. Some kind of peace, some kind of end to the nightmare. And the entire city of Stockton? Shaken. Back in 2011, crime was nuts, way above average. This case exposed just how dangerous a simple night out could turn. It wasn't just another crime story, it became a wake-up call. After all, Dalene didn't do anything wrong. She went out, she texted her location, she trusted the wrong person, and that's what made it so scary. But here's something powerful. Detective Brad Burrell, the lead on this case, got major recognition. Even before Dalene's body was found, he kept pushing. Investigated it like it was a homicide from day one. Used cell data to guess where she might be. That kind of determination? It won him an award for solving what started out as a no-body case. That's rare and impressive. Dalene's legacy is about more than tragedy. It's about refusing to let silence win. But before we wrap up, let's talk about what this all means. Because Dalene's story? It's a warning we can't ignore. Dalene Carlson's trust cost her life. She believed she was safe with someone she barely knew. But that trust was shattered in the worst way possible. Her story is a chilling reminder. Always stay cautious, even when things seem familiar. And if something feels off, trust your instincts. Want to hear about another betrayal? Check out our video on Grace Mullane's case next. It's another story that will leave you speechless. But hold up, Dalene's family didn't just mourn. They fought, held vigils, passed out flyers, kept her name alive. They're still pushing for missing folks to get answers. And one more thing, creeps like Gilley, they're all smiles and charm. Till they're not. Stay sharp out there.